Hey guys, welcome to the road to the Kang Dynasty. In this series, I'm going back every single month and revisiting a previous MCU movie and making updated custom LEGO minifigures to make them as accurate to the movies as possible. Hey guys, welcome back to the Showcase series. Today we're revisiting Captain America Civil War, and it's so crazy. The last time I did a Showcase video like this was 5 years ago yesterday. So many new pieces and parts have come out since then. This was a lot of fun to work on and upgrade, so let's get right into it. Now, before we do, I have another Kang Dynasty update. This week, it came out that Marvel may not be calling Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty, so from here on forward, I'm going to be referring to this as the road to Avengers 5, because who knows what it's going to be called at this point. If it goes back to Kang Dynasty, so be it, but for now on, we're going to change it from the road to Avengers 5. Anyways, let's get into the video and start breaking down these customs. Now, if you guys are new to these sorts of videos, I start at the beginning of the movie and work my way forward chronologically as best I can. So here, we have the Winter Soldier from the December 16, 1991 scenes. And I used the torso, hair, and legs from the polybag version of the Winter Soldier from a number of years back. And the head comes from the Bricktober version of the Winter Soldier, which is definitely a very difficult piece to get. And don't worry, I didn't use this for Bucky anywhere else, but I do recommend it for here for kind of that, disheveled look he used to have when he was totally under mind control. So we open the movie in present day in Lagos, and to start, let's go ahead and build Scarlet Witch. I went ahead and used the head and hair from the Civil War Scarlet Witch minifig, which we'll look at more in depth a little later. Then I used black legs in this torso from Arthur Weasley from Harry Potter, with some red studs on her hands to show that she's using a little magic in Lagos, although that kind of kicks the movie into motion, so yeah. So here we've got Captain America, and his outfit in Civil War is almost identical to Age of Ultron, so I used the most recent version of Captain America from Age of Ultron. The only difference in the movie is he doesn't have these red lines around the star in Civil War. Other than that, the suits are pretty much identical, so that's what I used for the torso, head, and helmet. Then, of course, the shield is the most recent version of Cap's shield, and the arms with the great printing on them and the dual-molded legs with the printing on them both come from Captain Carter from the LEGO Marvel CMF Series 1. Now, if we remove the head and helmet, I do really like to use this head and hair combo for Steve Rogers, and that head comes from Sam Flynn from LEGO Tron, and the hair is a relatively common piece, but this has always been my favorite combination for Steve Rogers. And if we wind back the hands of time, in the actual Civil War sets, they did use this head back in the day. I do think that looks quite a bit like Chris Evans too. I just like the Sam Flynn head 5% more, so that's always the one that I go with. But yeah. Now, Black Widow wears this tan jacket in Lagos, and honestly, I can't really think of a piece that looks exactly like that, so the next best option is to use Aldrich Killian's torso from Iron Man 3, then the head and hair come from Black Widow from 2015-2016, and these dual-molded legs were actually from Newt Scamander, but I used the eraser method to get the printing off. However, they did actually make these legs with blue on top, brown on bottom at the LEGO CMF Build-A-Minifig station at the LEGO store years ago, but I never got those, so I still use these ones that I broke the purist method for. But technically, if you search hard enough, you could find those legs out there without needing to do any extra work like I did. Alright, so here we've got Falcon, and this minifig is basically perfect from Avengers Tower. Really can't make many upgrades other than the arms, the dual-molded arms, which give you black on top and skin tone on bottom. And while the skin tone doesn't match perfectly, it is the best option we have as of right now in LEGO form. Hopefully we get more color combo options in the future, but I've been using this combo for years and I've always really liked it, and it seems like you guys have too, so that's what I recommend here. And now that brings us to Crossbones. Now, we did get an official Crossbones minifigure years and years ago from LEGO in 2016 for Captain America Civil War. So what I did is I used the head and torso from that original Crossbones with these heavy-duty legs that they used to use on Black Widow and Hawkeye years ago. Speaking of Black Widow, I used the printed Black Widow arms from 2020, 2021, something like that. And then I used the handcuff method where you take a pair of handcuffs and chop the chain off off between them to put the gauntlets on there, and then of course gray hands round out the figure. Now if you want to do the unmasked version, I did put this together for this time, and this uses the burned Anakin head from Star Wars with the hair from Falcon from the Lego Collectible Minifig series, although it's been used in other places. The only difference here, of course, is that in the movie he does kind of have like some facial hair beard going on, and of course this figure doesn't have that, so you know, I just wanted to give you guys an option. I do think that this is the best without breaking out any paint pens or markers, but yeah, that's my recommendation here. Okay, so now we've got Tony Stark's Barf Flashback. Man, he's got to work on that naming. But this was a lot of fun because I've never made Tony Stark's mom before in Lego, ever. So it was cool to add her in. And yeah, let's get to it. So for young Tony Stark, I used the head from Robert Pattinson's the Bruce Wayne from the Batman. He also appeared in Harry Potter too. Just gave him some regular black hair. This torso, it isn't quite the Mr. Softy torso that he's wearing, or shirt that he's wearing in the movie, but I did like the red and white combo on there, and of course that comes from the baseball player from the Lego CMF. Then I gave him the short-sleeved arms from Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz CMF, or from any of the German soccer players. It's appeared in other places, but yeah. Then I gave him some kind of light blue legs for jeans. Then for Tony's mom, I just used this regular head here that's been used on everybody, but Black Widow probably most famously. Then the blonde ponytail. This torso came from the Lego Women of NASA set, and she's got white legs. Then Tony's dad has dark blue legs. This torso from City and I believe Alien Conquest, if I'm not mistaken. The head from Vernon Dursley from Harry Potter, and some swept-back white hair to round it all out. It's also worth noting that Tony Stark has a black and blue eye for basically the back half of the movie, and so for that, I used this head which came on the Silver Centurion polybag minifigure from a long time ago. Now it's not perfect because in the movie his black and blue eye is actually on this side, not this side like it is on the Lego head, but it is the closest we've got, and unfortunately that head is very, very rare because that figure is super valuable, but at the end of the day, it would be what I recommend if you happen to have it in your collection to use. For Secretary of State Ross, I went ahead and just used the old J. Jonah Jameson minifigure. Yes, I know it's JJJ, but it looks a lot like him in the movie. And hey, if it ain't broke. Now, the villain of the movie, Zemo, does wear a lot of different outfits, and he shows up here chronologically, so I'm gonna show you him at this point of the video, but technically, he does have a different outfit on when he first appears. This is more from the end in Siberia. Anyways, the torso comes from Cassian Andor from Rogue One. I put purple gloves on there to homage his purple colors in the comics. Then I gave him these regular legs. They've come in a million different places over the years. The head is just a generic Star Wars trooper head. Come on, lots of different characters there as well. And he's got some flat top brown hair to finish it off. We first see Sharon Carter at the funeral, but I'm skipping ahead to show what she actually wears for, you know, more prominent scenes in the movie. The hair and head actually come from the Agent 13 Sharon Carter figure from Captain America Civil War, but the torso and legs come from Lois Lane from Lego Batman vs. Superman, and it doesn't get much better than that. Actually, I misspoke. These torso and legs come from Man of Steel, although Lois Lane was also in Batman vs. Superman, but with a different outfit. Rewatching this movie to make this showcase made me so sad thinking about the loss of Chadwick Boseman. I mean, some days it just still hits me. I can't believe he's gone. Anyways, to build T'Challa, I went ahead and used the head and hair combo from T'Challa that they gave us not so long ago in Lego sets. Then this torso comes from the Shanghai Gangsters from Lego Indiana Jones, but in reality, you could go ahead and use just any black suit if you have it in your collection. I just like the way that this one looks. I don't know. I'm just partial to it, I guess. I gotta say, I think that this is literally the best custom in the showcase. I think it's basically perfect. This, of course, is Bucky Barnes in his disguise when he's kind of, you know, trying to lay low and stay out of the camera light. But the torso and legs come from Rain Delacourt from Lego Jurassic World. It just works so perfect for what we see on the screen. All the colors are right. It's literally perfect. Then I gave him the head from Poe Dameron from Star Wars, a black hat, and a little bug-out bag backpack to round out the look, but I am just so happy with the way this turned out. I think this is one of my most accurate customs in a long time, to be honest. All these years later, I still attest that the first Black Panther minifig is my favorite ever from LEGO, and he just needs a couple upgrades. Well, I should say it's not my favorite minifig ever, it's my favorite Black Panther minifig ever. Anyways, I upgraded it by putting the legs from General Zod from Man of Steel, and ironically, the arms also come from General Zod, but from the LEGO Batman movie CMF. Then the torso, head, and the earpiece with the printing on it all come from the 2016 original version of Black Panther. The Civil War version of War Machine is among the best as well. I really love this figure, and I didn't actually make any upgrades. Sure, you could add the Black Widow arms with the printing on them, but I really just like this figure the way it came in the set in 2016, so I don't know, it's just the way I'm feeling these days. I'm gonna leave it as is. It is a little crazy to me we haven't gotten an Everett Ross minifig at this point. I mean, I don't think we're gonna get him now, but I don't know, I just would have thought we might have got one at some point over the years. Anyways, for Everett Ross, I used this torso, which has come in Harry Potter sets, as well as on Alexander Pierce in the Avengers Tower. The hair comes from Commissioner Gordon from the LEGO Batman movie, and the face comes from Bilbo Baggins, since, you know, I think he kind of looks a little bit like the actor that plays Everett Ross. So here we've got Tom Holland's first appearance as Spider-Man, and I actually like the way that this one turned out. I've made this custom a couple times over the years, but I'm very happy with how it looks today. Anyways, this torso, I always mess this up. I can never remember if it's from Lego City or from Snake from the Simpsons, so someone will let me know in the comments. I always mess it up, I swear. Anyways, we've got tan hands on there, gray legs, the head from Spider-Man from the Marvel CMF Series 1, and some flat brown hair to round it out. Alright, here we've got Hawkeye, and some people don't know that there actually was a Hawkeye minifigure from Civil War. He came out in a set that was exclusive to the LEGO store and Toys R Us, so a lot of people missed out on it, but that's where this torso came from. It's literally perfect for the movie, so that's what we're going to use. We've got a black arm on this side, and on this side, we've got a short-sleeved arm. This came from Ethan Hunt from the LEGO Dimensions Mission Impossible set. The legs come from Hawkeye or Black Widow or Falcon from the Avengers Tower, although there are other options out there. I just like the way that that looks. And then finally, the head comes from Goetze, who is a character, as you can see here, from the German CMF soccer series. So I just really think that that looks a lot like Clint in this movie, and that's what I went with here. So by this point, we finally get to see Iron Man suited up, and he's in his Civil War armor. So this is the actual minifigure from Captain America Civil War back in 2016. Can't really think of anything to do better to it, because it just looked so darn good then, and all these years later, it's still looking great. Alright, so that brings us to Black Widow. Now, they used the same torso, legs, head, and hair from 2015 Age of Ultron the following year in 2016 for Civil War, but her Civil War suit actually did not have the blue detailing. That being said, as of this video, it's still the most accurate version of the suit, so that's what I'm going to use here, but I did put the 2020 Black Widow arms on there with the stingers and shoulder pads, just to add a little bit of extra detail, because we didn't have those last time I made this video. Alright, now it's time to make underoos, and honestly, guys, after all this time, I think that the Spider-Man from the Sanctum Sanctorum is my favorite version of this suit. I think it works out really, really great, and of course, giving him the cap shield is just a really nice nod, and just so you can see him side by side, since I haven't shown him side by side in a long time, that's the original suit. This, of course, came in the Spider-Man Homecoming sets, so that works out, and then if you want the original suit, this was actually the concept art version that did come in the Captain America Civil War sets. As you can see, the spider there is different from the spider on the other two, because when they were shooting the movie, Tom Holland's suit actually had this spider, but once they actually shot the movie, they went in and digitally put in the new spider that we all know and love now. So yeah, kind of interesting, but there's lots of different versions of this same suit out there. Alright, my favorite, Ant-Man, shows up at the airport battle, and this was so awesome to make. You know, it's so crazy that I went back and watched my Civil War video from 5 years ago, like I mentioned, and at that time, the Endgame Ant-Man helmet hadn't even come out yet, just to tell you how long ago that was. So it was like just about to come out like a couple weeks after I made that video. But anyways, on to this video. What I used is the legs and flipped around torso from the Ant-Man and the Wasp version of Ant-Man with the black and red printed arms from the Surfer Dude from the LEGO CMF series. And yeah, that's basically all there is is to it. Got gray hands on there, and I do have the Ant-Man micro figure here because this is the specific one from the Civil War airport battle set. How you can tell is because he doesn't have any red on the top of the helmet right above the eyes, and Ant-Man in this movie, for whatever reason, doesn't have the red strips above his eyes. And yes, the helmet that I used here does have those red strips, but the reason for that is because I really don't want to use the eraser method to destroy this helmet because they are getting pretty rare and hard to find, since it was only in one set from, oh my gosh, like 5 years ago now. So yeah, basically not going to destroy that helmet, but if you want to give it a shot, be my guest. All right, that brings us to the Winter Soldier at the airport battle, and I used the torso and hair from the official Winter Soldier from the Civil War sets, but the head is from Poe Dameron from Star Wars, and these legs come from the CMF Spy from many, many moons ago, but they do work really well for this figure, and I haven't changed my mind on that. Here we've got Scarlet Witch from the Civil War airport battle, and this minifigure is actually the one from that very set. These are getting really hard to find that don't have cracks on their torsos because this shade of red really cracked a lot back at that time, and this one is particularly rare because of the waist cape around her hips there. So this is the official figure from that. The only thing I added are these legs from the Imperial Engineers from Star Wars, but other than that, this was pretty much a perfect figure all those years ago, so not too much I really want to add to it, you know? Here we've got Vision, and this is the regular Vision from the Civil War set, as well as from the Infinity War Thresher attack, the Wakandan Gate, and the way you can tell it's this version specifically is because he does have the correct gemstone here with the yellow Infinity Stone in his forehead. The original version that came out with Age of Ultron had a blue Infinity Stone on the head, but they did correct it in 2016 and 2018 respectively. It's pretty much a perfect figure, so there's not really anything we could change or add. Of course, right now you can get Vision in the $500 Avengers Tower, which would also work, but I do like the full version of Vision, not the one that's like, you know, phasing through a wall or whatever, although that does work for this movie too, because he does use that ability. But I guess I say all that to say you could go with either option and be totally fine. Now, you guys know we couldn't do this video without showing off Giant Man. I love this figure. It's a brick-built Lego figure that came out in 2016 in the Civil War airport battle set. It's totally posable right here at the shoulders. It can twist, and then, of course, you can hold his hand out so that he can have War Machine in his hand, just like the movie. There you go. So you could have him hold War Machine just like the movie, and yeah, it is pretty amazing. Now, next to a Lego minifig, you can see it's actually pretty tall, and I'd say it's built to relative proportion that we see in the movie. So yeah, I love this. I really wish Lego would do more figures like this. They did for a brief stint for a few years there, but we haven't gotten anything like this in a set in a long time. And if anybody from Lego is watching this, please bring this back. And finally, I always make Stan Lee in his cameo form from every movie, so this one's going to be no exception. And this is from when he delivers the letter to Tony Stark at the end of the movie. We're going to come back to that in a minute. But this head comes from Firestar Toys. It's not an official Lego piece, but hey, if anybody gets to bend the rules, it's Stan Lee. That head is literally perfect. Then the torso is the Lego Store employee torso that's come in poly bags and sets that are Lego Store exclusives over the years. Then I just gave him a black hat. This one happens to be from the Lego movie, but you could use any black hat, and I gave him the letter that he gives to Tony Stark at the end of the movie. Speaking of which, believe it or not, I actually own that letter from Civil War. Atlanta Brick Co. is a Lego store in Atlanta, Georgia, and they got in a ton of movie props, and this is the actual letter that Tony Stark is holding at the end of Captain America Civil War. Right at the end there, so no matter what, I promise you, if you need us, if you need me, I'll be there. So this is the actual letter that Downey held in the movie. How crazy is that? I literally can't believe I own this sometimes. Alright guys, well, let me know what you thought about this showcase. It's so crazy to go back almost 5 years to the day and revisit this awesome movie and all of the minifigs from it. Let me know which figures were your favorite. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.